What's up, everyone? Welcome to Millennialistic Podcast. We are your hosts, Xavier
and Brian.
If you enjoyed this episode, please
subscribe, review, and share on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, and subscribe to our Patreon.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Peace.
I'd like to begin with a fact.
Yeah. Okay, let's. All right.
Let's get ready to rumble.
This is episode 99 of Millennialistic. Today we have my buddy, my friend, my brother, Josh Rankins, man.
Woo!
What
up, dude?
It's been long overdue because we always try to do stuff in person, but I'm like, we did one Zoom podcast like, I don't know, 10 episodes ago, something like that.
Something like that.
And now I'm like, well, I can get all my homies on here. They don't have to be in person. I love doing it, but, you know, that's a hell of a distance.
We're global with it now.
Yeah.
We're global.
Yeah.
We're global. Yeah, dude, thanks for coming on, dude. Like I was just telling you before we hopped on, Xavier's told me so much about you. Like, I feel like we've hung out a bunch, but we'd never have actually met. So it's cool to have you on the pod, dude.
Yeah, man.
In another dimension.
Yeah, we met in like summer, I think, of 8th grade going into 9th grade, I think. I don't think I was in high school yet. Because I heard Doodle and Robert talk about you and Michael, and then I was getting off the bus one day, I think. It was like the end of the year or something. And you and Michael were skating off this little concrete thing into this little grass bank trying to do like the craziest flip tricks. And I remember y'all both had like these huge froze. I was like, oh shit, it's Danny Gonzalez, because we'd been watching the Globe video. And I was like, oh shit.
That's funny. Yeah, it was like, when was that? I know it would have to have been, going into high school.
It's like
definitely right before high school.
Like 2002.
Yeah, I remember,
I was going to say like 2002 probably.
Yeah, dude, holy shit, that's a long time ago.
I know.
Wow. I know, yeah, it was like after 9/11 and all that stuff was going down. And
9/11, dude, never forget.
No, I went to Stir Pizza right after. I remember like I went there and like all the
dude, we were just talking about
buildings in Nashville that were burning. I had no idea about New York City or anything. Just a small country boy, just anything. 9/11.
9/11 was wild. We were actually just talking about that, dude. I remember we weren't talking about 9/11. We were talking about when Michael Jackson died. But it's the same shit. You remember where you were when it happened.
Just as sad.
Yeah, I do remember. Where were you guys at when Michael Jackson died?
Dude, I came to your house that day, and you had the balcony door open, blaring Michael Jackson. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? And I knock on the door, and you got a fedora on, a fucking wife beater, and a black open shirt, and you're just doing dances, singing all of his songs in the living room and shit. Bro, you're like, he's gone, man, he's gone. And they're spinning around. Yeah.
He's gone, baby.
You had the windows. It was windy outside. You're out there just.
Damn,
I forgot about that. Holy crap.
Yeah, I remember that day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
We lost a legend, dude. Yeah, I was on the way to a basketball game, and I remember telling my coach, like, I didn't want to play today, dude. Like, we lost a goat, you know what I mean? I just wasn't even in the mood. But, shit's crazy, dude. R.I.P. to MJ and R.I.P. to 9/11,
For real.
R.I.P. to 9/11. But, yeah, you said, so y'all met in, like, so y'all been skating since, like, fucking 7th grade, 8th grade?
8th grade. It was like 8th grade up until the time you moved, and I think I was like 25 when you moved. So 2000.
I got my first skateboard when I was in 8th grade, and then that's when I met everyone at Tivoli Place, that apartment complex, and then wait, when did I move here?
No. What'd you ask?
Well, I was saying, when did you guys start skating? You were saying like 8th grade till like 24, 25-ish.
Yeah.
So that would have been, I don't know what year that would have been. I don't know. But
yeah, so
time is a man-made concept,
we skated from that point till you moved in.
Skated for a long time.
You moved in 2012.
Yeah, I moved out in 2012. I think it was August 27th, 2012 when I moved here.
I remember I had this memory of us like skating like maybe like 6 months or a year before, and it was a bunch of us all together, and everyone was still tight and everything, and it was so weird. It was almost eerie, and you were just like, "This is the last summer, like that. This is gonna be like this." And I was like, "What do you mean?" You're like, "I can just feel it," and I was like,
Oh yeah.
I was like, "What?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's something's gonna you're like it's gonna change," and it all did.
And that's when you moved?
It like he moved like he wasn't even like, "Hey, I'm moving" yet. He just like got like a premonition or something, which is like this tight clique of people we have to skate together, like all this fun we have skating, and like this era that we're in, it's about to end and something new is going to begin. And it did. Like, you moved to California, I started dating some girl, and I didn't skate as much, and like the whole friend group kind of disbanded. Like, I'd see some people around every once in a while, but it definitely was never the same. And you called it.
I remember that very vividly. We're at juniors skating in the parking lot, and I remember the doors were open to the car, and like music was blasting, and everyone was skating. There was a big crew of us that day, and we skated all day long, and it was probably like 11-something o'clock at night. And I remember, like when everyone was kind of dispersing, I had that feeling. Actually, I had that feeling all day that day that this is the last time I'm gonna see a lot of these people, and it's the last time all of us are gonna all skate together. And then shortly after that, that's when certain people started going to jail, and other people was kind of like, kind of fucking off. Like, they weren't really skating anymore and wasn't really doing much. And then shortly after that, I had my breakup and then got an opportunity to move to California, which I had like 20 minutes to figure out if I wanted to move there or not.
What?
And I have the little purple suitcase that I brought to California with me still. I came here with $73 in my name. I left everything in the apartment and just like just got here, no plan really.
What?
Other than and then it's like skate and start a new life, But I knew that, that was weird. I remember that night. I think about that a lot actually. And then that's happened like quite a few times in my life where I feel like, okay, this is the last time I'm gonna see this person, or something is about to change like dramatically, And
I've
a lot of those premonitions.
I've definitely had it a few times in my life when I like am not so focused on I feel like when I'm not so focused on other people and like, I don't like meditate necessarily, but like there's times where I'll really sit back and I'll be like my thoughts are more internalized, where I don't want to talk about stuff as much sometimes, and I'm just thinking about my whole life, and I'll think about the people in it, and then sometimes I'll be like, I can feel something changing. Like, I literally wrote this down today. I was actually going to make a post about it. But there's a song I heard a while ago that, like, when it came out, I would play this song all the time. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics or anything. It's called Cigarette Daydream by KG Elephant. It's an amazing song. And I really like this song. I didn't really, like, look into it. And then when I'm going through currently right now, I heard it, like, a week or two ago, and I can't get it out of my head. I played it a few different times, and I'm like, now look up the lyrics and, like, kind of, like, listen to the sound of the song, like the vibe of it, and look at the lyrics. I'm like, this kind of reminds you of like recent events, or like kind of what I've been kind of going through. And it's like I got a foreshadowing a while ago, like this song's gonna mean something to you one day, but when I first heard it, I didn't realize it.
It's I mean, that's a whole another thing too, where music can like speak to you, and from either the past, present, or future, I feel like. But what was the name of the song?
Cigarette Daydream
by KG Elephant.
Yeah. I'll send it to you later on.
Yeah. Send me a song, listen to that.
It's pretty good though.
I'm curious, Josh. What you if you don't mind talking about, what was the opportunity that led you to San Francisco?
Oh yeah, I don't mind talking about it at all, man. Well, when I first moved to California, my aunt had called me randomly and was like, hey, if you want to come to California, now's your chance, but you have to be going to school when you get here. And I remember like looking around my apartment and looking at everything and thinking to myself, do I really want to be here anymore? And He told me like, all right, I'm gonna call you back in 20 minutes and just let me know.
20 minutes, damn.
She hung the phone, right? So I'm sitting there contemplating everything. Like, should I stay here? Should I stay or should I go? And yeah, I just made the decision. I called her back. I was like, yeah, I'm down. I didn't really go to school when I came here though. But I moved to San Jose first. But then I came back to Tennessee after 2 weeks because a girl that I was dating for a long time, she was hit by a pickup truck.
Dude,
riding her moped.
I forgot, dude. I completely forgot that happened. Oh, yeah. Oh shit! I forgot. I actually forgot that.
Yeah. So she was wearing a pool stick case on her back because she was going to go to play pool in Smyrna.
I forgot.
But the pool stick case was made out of carbon fiber, so when the truck hit her, because the truck was passing a car to get in front of it, didn't see her and hit her from behind. And the pool stick case saved her back from being broken, and her helmet, like I guess, hit the hood of the truck and sent her flying like 300 feet. She was all tore up. So and that was crazy because I just got off the phone with her that morning, and I flew back that night to make sure she was good. And the whole time they're like, we don't know if she's going to make it. So the whole time I'm up in the air, there's no Wi-Fi. So I'm like, if I ever land and she's not alive, that sucks. But luckily she was still good. I helped her move all of her stuff to Texas with her mom. And then from Texas, Galveston, Texas, I had a decision if I want to stay there and work on an oil rig or come back to California. And I just made the hard decision to come back here. You know, I thought I would see her again. I told her like I would see her again, and I have never seen her again. You know what I mean? Whoa. And I came back to San Jose, stayed there for like a couple more years, and then moved to San Francisco after that. And then it wasn't until I moved to San Francisco that everything kind of opened up for me. Like my eyes got opened to California more. San Jose was rough for me. I didn't like San Jose at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, a lot of dark times in San Jose, for sure.
Yeah. So, I think I talked about it a while ago, but Melanie's like a lead singer of like a psychedelic rock band now.
Yeah, which is like fucking crazy.
It's so crazy because she was very like, kind of like quiet, like kept to herself. She didn't talk a whole lot, but for her to be like a lead singer of a band, and like some of her songs are really good, and they're like, I saw an article about them pop up not too long ago, and they interviewed her. But that was really cool to see, like, that's what she's doing now. And it completely changed, like, genres of music that she was into. People definitely evolved, you know, and their taste changed. But I think that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because, like, one of the things I had to leave behind was all of my CDs. And I had, like...
Oh, God, dude, you had so many.
CDs.
No. This man had books. I remember
of CDs, man.
I'm putting them CDs in the
90s, dude.
He had that system at his house, just like
all you kids out there listening today. We didn't have all of our shit on one of these little rectangles at a certain point. You had to have a giant book, or sounds like in Josh's case, is multiple giant books of compact discs that we would put in there. You know
what's really crazy is like I remember there's like a feeling you would get, or I would get, when I would be driving on the road and see a shimmering thing on the side of the road, and it was a CD, and I'll always pull over. And I remember one night I was driving, and I found a bunch of them laying on the ground, and it was a CD case that I guess an ex-girlfriend had thrown out of the car, and it said, this little note slipped in one of the CD slots, and it said, I hope you enjoyed her, you piece of shit. And I found Deftones through that, Opeth, like Mudvayne, it was like probably 200 CDs I found in one night.
Dude, hell yeah.
Did you call me? Did you tell me about that?
Damn.
I'm sure you did.
200 CDs, too? That's not cheap, bro. That's like several $100s worth of CDs.
Yeah, man. I mean, when it comes to, like, discovering music, like, fucking Xavier put me onto a lot of stuff. Like, we'll be driving around listening to fucking, like, the craziest shit at night, dude. I'll be high out of my mind, like, just sitting there, like, what am I even listening to?
Dude, all of my favorite artists have come from Xavier. Has this super skill, I think, to like he listens to so many different genres of music that he'll find out what you're interested in, and he'll like connect it in his Venn diagram and be like, yo, you should check out this shit.
I did this the other day to my buddy Mike Combs, who I haven't seen in.
It's like shit that's like right up your alley, but you haven't heard before. It's like a little bit different than what you're used to, but you like it. You know what I mean?
I used to make mixed CDs for like everybody.
He's the same way in the bed, by the way.
Yeah, but like, you want some of this?
Whoa, meter.
But no, dude, that's fucking. Okay, dude, I saw a thing yesterday. ESPN was doing a thing. It's the 25th anniversary of Tony Hawk hitting the 900.
And then a couple days later, a kid who's 9 years old hit it 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that shit was wild. Did you see that, Joe?
Yeah.
Dude, that shit was crazy. But Sports Center did a whole fucking like 30-minute film. I'll have to send it to you, dude. It was actually very well put together. It was like they were interviewing Tony Hawk about like what happened that day and like how it went down, how he had to try it over and over. And they said like at a certain point they're like, we just stopped the contest. They're like, nobody cared about the contest.
They just wanted to see him win, yeah.
But that's one of those things too. Like I remember I was in the basement with my brothers. That's one of those. I feel like as a kid in the 90s, you remember where you were when Tony Hawk hit that 900. But shit's crazy, dude.
Like watching that on TV, and I didn't even know what the hell I was watching. I was just watching it, a little box TV, and yeah, they did. They stopped the contest and they just like waited for him to. Everyone was like cheering him on to land the 900, and then we all know what happened after that.
Dude, and they said like so the next day, like the amount of skateboards that were sold across. America,
he changed a lot of people's lives. Like honestly, like I got that demo disc because you remember the PlayStation magazines used to have the demo disc that came with it. People go to the store and steal them and not buy the magazines and shit. I didn't do that, but
for legal reasons.
Yeah. Can't be a
like Xavier did.
Can't be a
Allegedly,
stereotype.
Some people may have done this.
And I'd play I'd play because you could be Chad Muska or Tony Hawk, and you'd play that little like skate park that was in France, Marseille or something. I can't remember. And I'd play that game over and over and over. We were obsessed with it. And this dude moved. Or outside playing tag or whatever we're doing at this age, and then we heard a skateboard off in the distance, and we're like, "What?" And this dude came out of his apartment skating all off the sidewalk, and we were like, "What?" And we just sat down, and this dude's setting up stuff and doing flip tricks over it, landing it and rolling away, and I was like, "That is the coolest thing I have ever seen," and I was in shock, and we're watching this, and he sees us watching, he's probably early 20s. He's like, "Come here," and we're just like, "Us?" Like, yeah, and we came over there, and he's like, "Y'all want to learn to skate?" And we're like, "Yeah," and he's like, "I'll be right back," and he went up in his apartment and gave us 2 skateboards, completes. He's like, "If I give this to you," he's like, "you guys skate every day," and I was like, "All right," and then he like tried to teach us how to ollie going up the sidewalk, and I did that every day for I don't know how long, and just try to like couldn't. Kind of scared to bomb hills, so we'd just lay down, like sit down and bomb these hills in our apartments. Then finally got the like courage to stand up and do it, and like that was my life for the next 14 years. It's like almost weekly. It's all I thought about. My mom would give me money to like get food at school, and I'd be like, I'm saving it for skate videos. I'm gonna go hungry. Like it was pure love, man. Nothing else like it.
Yeah, dude.
No, there's nothing like fucking skateboarding.
I kind of feel bad for people who don't have something like that.
What's that?
I kind of feel bad for people who didn't grow up with something like that.
I mean, or just in general, like they don't find it, Like I've dated people before who said, I wish I had skateboarding, or I wish I found something like you found, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's out there, just people need to learn how to tap into their creative side, or I don't know, just like learn how to let go, and I feel like when they learn how to let go, they'll find themselves in that way. But that's a whole nother tangent.
Oh, yeah.
No, dude, I've found that. I feel like so many people like getting a routine. I feel like a routine can be healthy, but if you don't have like things outside of that to go like decompress your energy, or like we used to like go try new things and like go figure out what you like, and maybe more importantly what you don't like, you know what I mean? But like if you don't ever try those new experiences, if you never order something different off the menu, if you never like go do that like weird thing, then you're never gonna know if you like it, you know what I mean? That's something I've learned as I've gotten older, you know.
I have to take risk, and you know, that's the thing I think no one wants to do is take a risk, because with that it comes failure or being hurt.
Yeah.
You know, making yourself vulnerable. It's like no one wants to feel hurt, but the thing is, like, you have to understand it's a part of the process, like, of anything that you actually want to accomplish and that you love. Because what you love the most is going to hurt you the most, is what I've grown to learn. So,
well, like especially in extreme sports, like you could probably make the same argument about like BMX and like dirt. Like the hard thing about extreme sports is when you fail, it like not only emotionally hurts, but it physically fucking hurts. Like that's what got me out of skateboarding. I like skinned my knee barely one time, and I was like, oh no, not doing this anymore.
Not us. We different.
I remember the first time I stepped on a board, dude. It was my mom's banana board, like a little skinny board. And she's like, you step on that thing, you're going to bust your head wide open. And I did. I stepped back on it and fell back and cracked my head open. But I remember like touching the back of my head, looking at the blood, and laughing. And that I wanted to conquer that thing, because it wasn't just because I failed, you know, stepping on it, but it was because they told me you can't do it, and they hid it from me, like hid the board from me. So
damn,
like I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's like I think it's a part of like a lot of things in life where when someone tells you you can't have it or you can't do it, like you have to believe in yourself. Like, yeah, you can do it. You can, if you want it, you know what I mean? But in those moments, even in pain, you're going to know if you want it or not. You know what I mean? Like if you're hurting or going through it, how bad do you want it? Okay, you don't want it. You don't want to feel that. Okay, then give it up. But if you want it, you got to understand you're going to go through a lot of pain.
So when you guys were skating together, did that come up a lot where it was like, nah, dude, you can't like clear those steps? And then you're like, no, fuck that, watch this.
Yeah, there'll be stuff like that where, you know, it's like friendly. And then sometimes, yeah, people actually arguing and stuff. You're like, oh, you can't do that because so-and-so can't do that, or blah, 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 whatever. Or no one's ever done that before.
Yeah, no one's ever done that before. That one. I feel like that comes up a lot in skateboarding.
Oh yeah.
No, especially like street skateboarding.
Oh, dude, yeah. Josh would go for the craziest shit. I remember seeing footage of you do that Demus's set, and I was just, my mind was fucking, I was in shock. Yeah. Because I was like, because you've been talking about doing it for a minute, and I was like, dude, that'd be fucking crazy. And then you're like, yo, I did it, and there was footage of it. And I remember watching it, and I was like, oh my God, that's insane. And I wish we still had it, but with you heel flipping the 2-flat 2, the Bank of America.
Oh, Bank of America?
That was badass. Because, like, not that many people have done tricks down that thing. Like, I've seen, like, Doodle kick flip the shit out of it. You were there that night. It's in the video, but it's all blurry. It's on, like, the little camera that I had for a second, although the other one was broken. Yeah. But yeah, especially with skateboarding, it's just like that whole thing about skateboarding is like progression. It progresses almost like how technology does. Like we're talking about that kid who did the 900 3 times in a row, and he's like a third. Yeah, he's like the third of the age of Tony Hawk when he did just one, and that was what 25 years ago. It's like.
I think technology and like it's helping with that now, like social media and the fact that, you know, it's so accessible now. Like even just watching old skate videos, I was like thinking to myself, like, man, I remember when you would just watch every single frame and get as much out of it as you could, because that's all you're going to get for the next like couple of years with that company or that person. And you know, so now it's like you can just go on their story and see anything and what they're doing that day if they want to post it. But I think with technology, not just skateboarding, but everything, music, art, building cars, whatever, you can learn so much quicker now because knowledge is everywhere. Yeah. And it's, that's a whole other tangent.
Well, and like, and skateboarding.
No, go off.
Skateboarding's become like more of a science too. Like I was talking to somebody about this, about like baseball. Like when we were kids, kind of, I imagine it's kind of similar to skateboarding. Like when you guys are skateboarding, like, now there's people that actually like study the angles and the physics. Like you guys just went out and fucking tried to kickflip until you like same with when we were like playing baseball, like we just threw it. Now they're teaching kids about like arm angles and velocity and like all this bullshit. So there's like so much more science behind it versus again like you were saying, like, before the internet, we just went out and it was like trial and error.
There were like
until you figured it out.
There were like a few like trick tip videos that were like you could buy. Like I had a VHS like how to ollie, how to kickflip, how to heel flip. Yeah. But that was such a rare thing. There was like one for the longest time.
But now you can just YouTube it.
Or if you get lucky, you were around like us. We knew a bunch of skateboarders, so we all just fed off of each other and like, how do you do that? And we'd figure out stuff. I remember like the top of my game, like when I had a bunch of my flip tricks like consistent. I was skating with Doodle, like Chris Rudd, Robert, like you, like all these people had. Some of y'all, everybody had a trick that someone else could do so good that someone else couldn't do. And there would be times where I'm like, hey, teach me that. And I might have never landed more than one, but I'll like stick one and be like, oh shit, I get it. And that feeling is like nothing else. Like, oh shit, like I seen someone do this for so long and I got close, or either I learned it for a little bit, and that shit's magical. Like, there's not a lot of stuff that's like that.
No. To me, it's like, that's why I could never give it up. Or I mean, there's plenty of times where I feel like I would have if I didn't have a drive, but like, it's that feeling, man. It's just absolute freedom, and as cheesy as it sounds, you know, but I see skateboarding as a performance art. It's you can take it to the sport wise, you know, like, you know, compete or whatever, or be kind of jockish with it, or you can just be an artist with it, you know. And I mean, fuck, it's taken me personally a lot of places, like all over the country and stuff, and it's I don't know, that it can't imagine that feeling where you just lose it, you know, like you just don't feel that same way anymore. I mean, some days it comes, you know, or weeks where it's like, I don't really feel like skating today, or I don't really feel like taking it as serious today, but I don't know, just like to have that feeling forever, you know, of never wanting to do it again, where people just like fall out of it. It's like, dang, it's crazy. It's so crazy to me.
To completely like be disconnected to me is kind of crazy. Like, even myself that doesn't skate very much anymore, I think about it all the time. I literally play like skateboard video games. I watch video parts. I listen to music and think about which skater would have an amazing video part to a certain song. It's kind of my mind has been wired and always will think that way. I'll drive down the street somewhere, different towns I don't know, and I'll look at, oh, there's a spot right there. Like, it's a part of who I am, even if I don't skate all the time. But absolutely, I get it.
So, Josh, you still skate pretty regularly?
This man's in documentaries, yes.
Oh shit, yeah.
Okay, a documentary, right. My bad.
But every day, like recreationally, you're going to the grocery store, you're taking your skateboard.
I mean, yeah, I'll freaking go to the store with like my board or whatever. But it's I don't see it as like a hobby or anything. Like, I see it, to me, it's a lifestyle. That's why I made such a drastic change in my life to come out to the heart of it, you know, in California. So it's a lifestyle for me. It's not a hobby or anything. It's not, you know, I don't know. Yeah. I put my body on the line so many times in my mind that it's kind of like, yeah, I don't see myself doing anything else. And I'm a skateboarder, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no, you know, some people are musicians, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's fucking my whole room is like fucking skateboarding, dude. That's all it is. It's skateboard, you know. It's I don't know if that's answered your question or not.
No, absolutely, dude. Is Cali I would imagine Cali's like pretty open about like public skating. Are you pretty open to like go pretty much wherever, or are they kind of strict about it in like certain areas?
I mean, yeah, we'll have like people who don't really back skateboarding at all here, and you still
fucking squares.
Yeah. But like, it's the way I look at it is like how the South, you're bred to play football. So
you're on a board, like you're either surfing or you're skating, but you're on a board, brother.
Yeah, especially in Southern California, like everyone skates. I remember when I first moved to California, I saw like a cholo, like pushing down the street on the skateboard. I'm like literally everyone skates out here. Like even if they're like just like going to the store, they're going to check their mail. Like everyone's skating, you know.
Yeah, it's real wild.
Everyone's stoked. Hell yeah.
What?
Hell
All right, so one of my questions was, I'm going to talk to you, I'm sure, on the phone about it. If you were comparing San Francisco to Nashville, I would say Murfreesboro, but that's such like a small town. What are some of the major differences or things you've really noticed over the years? Because you were here for, I mean, it's almost like half and half.
Well, shit, I guess, but it's probably totally changed.
Like 30-year life, yeah. So, like, what are some of the major differences between here and there? Something somebody from here might not realize because they don't live there. They're not immersed in it.
Oh, man, that's so.
It's a very
hard.
Is it too broad?
It's I would say diversity. Out here, you can go to, you know, a restaurant and be surrounded by like 7 or 8 different types of ethnic groups. You know, like there's just so much more going on. Like even the sun shines differently in California, and I've tried to explain that to people, but the sun just looks different here. I read like, you know, and that was confirmed to me when I drove to Texas, and I remember looking at the sun in Texas. I'm like, yeah, it looks different here. Like it's just like a different way everything is being presented here, and also being lived here.
Yeah.
I would say the people in Nashville, for the most part, are like nicer.
No, that's changed.
More in the South, you know, I feel like here it's a lot more passive aggressiveness, and you don't really know what people's true intentions are until like the last. I feel like in the South, even if someone's racist, they'll at least let you know that they're racist. You know.
I don't like your skin color out there. They're just like, look at you weird.
Yeah. I've heard that before, that like people are real like shady about their intentions and like all that. Like everybody, like, especially in LA, I've heard our buddy Matt was telling me, like, everybody just wants to like use you as like part of their plan, you know what I mean? And it's like nobody wants to like just be your friend to be your friend, you know what I mean?
Sounds like an ex, huh?
Especially with dating out here, man. Dating out here, it sucks, man. It sucks. But I'll tell you, the women who are like some of the best, there's like the European, and we'll go into that later on. But
that's for a different podcast.
Part 2.
That's millennialistic after hours, you know.
But you know what, dude? Like, I have never had that experience in LA. Actually, I've had a lot of like good friends that are living in LA or from LA, and I just think that's kind of everywhere, more so. But in a whole, like, I don't want to bash on the Bay Area at all, because the Bay Area it's a great place to live. But everywhere is different. You know what I mean? Like even like Central California is gonna be a lot different. It kind of reminds you of like the South or Midwest, the way people live their lives and view certain things. But wait, what was your question again?
I don't know. I was curious about how has it changed since COVID? Like over the last 2-3 years. I didn't. That wasn't the question, but that was my next question I was going to ask.
My question was the differences between like Nashville and San Francisco. Like, what do you notice, or what's something that you've realized living out there that someone might not, who's not always
okay.
in that environment?
If out here it's doggy dog. Like if you want something, you got to actually be getting it, because if not, you're like spending a lot of money to live here for no reason. And people are going to walk all over you if you're not like serious about what you're doing, you know what I mean? Or use you, you know? You have to really show that you want it in whatever industry that you are out here. Because there's a ton of, there's endless talented people. Yeah. That's one thing in California is everyone's good at something out here. Everyone is. And it's not necessarily the people who are the most talented, it's the people who are the most determined that are going to keep longevity, you know. But in Nashville too, it's like, I guess it goes back to like the people, like how nice people are, you know. It's like people are nice out here. It's just different. And I feel like it's the people who are from San Francisco. Because I'm going to say SF because I'm living here. The people who are from here, born and raised, amazing people. It's the people who have moved here from other places who are the ones that make it look bad. You know what I mean? Like, they don't come here for community. They come here for themselves and to build a life for themselves and not really realize where they're moving into. Like, this is someone's grandparents' house that you just bought for, like, you know, an absurd amount of money that they get out of, you know? So it's just different. I don't know. It's different in so many different ways. And even the skate scene, of course, is going to be different because you're in the heart of all of it, you know? So much history is here. And that can be intimidating at first because you're like, oh, shit, that's Chico Brenes or that's Wallenberg. You know, it's, you know, all concrete feels the same and all handshake feel the same. So,
yeah.
What we've talked about this before. I am curious about like San Francisco. Were you drawn to more of like a West Coast skate style versus moving to somewhere like New York or like Boston, like an East Coast, more like style with it, or you just wanted to be closer to the beach?
What's crazy, man, is I remember when I was little, probably like 8 years old, maybe even 9. And I used to sit in my sandbox playing, and I would always look at the horizon and would always say to myself, like, I belong in California. I need to be in California. And I used to tell my mom that all the time, like, I need to be in California, to the point where she would get mad and tell me to shut the hell up. Right before I moved to California, I had a friend come through town. Well, he wasn't a friend one time, but a guy came through town, became one of my best friends pretty instantly. His name was John Goodman.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He came through and he was skating the park in our town. And I remember I walked up to him and was like, dude, you have like sick style. Like, you skate fucking good. My name's Josh. Like, what's your name? He says, John. He's like, I'm only staying in town for a month because I'm on my way to California. And long story short, we would watch the movie Almost Famous, like, religiously, and we would both joke back and forth, like, that's how California is going to be. That's how California is going to be. And it wasn't until I saw him leave when we were eating Subway, and I saw him leave in the cars and say, like, all right, I'm going to California. I'm leaving now. And to see him actually get in the car and leave and drive off, that's what motivated me, I think, the most to come to California. And I never really had a pull to go to the East Coast or to live in New York City, even though I do want to, like, check it out.
Yeah.
But there's something about California, and it's still even being here and living here for like 10 years now. There's something I can't explain. Like, even when I go to LA, it's just like, it's LA, you know, it's San Francisco, it's California. And there's a lot of amazing badass stuff that happens here that doesn't happen anywhere else. And it's a hub for a lot of creative and driven people, you know? Yeah. I feel like California is a different country, and every city is a different state. And there's nothing like it in the United States. So I don't know.
I've only been to LA, but I've been out there 3 times, but just the landscape. Everything looks so much different out there. It really does look like a different country in some parts. You're just like, damn. And then, like, just knowing it's like skateboard mecca, like, for us skateboarders, we're just driving around town and we get to see history. It's like being in a fucking museum, like, oh shit, that's Wilshire. Or like, oh, I've seen that, like, bump the bar in the DGK video. Like, I remember being out there the first time, just like, I'm with my dad and my uncle in the car, and I'm freaking out. Like, oh my God, it's Hollywood High. And I'm like naming tricks have been done down it, like they know who the hell and what I'm talking about. And it was just so fucking cool. I'm like getting some fast food, and Furby walks up. I'm like, oh shit, it's Furby. Like, it's so cool being out there. Last time I went out there, I wasn't with anyone who skated, but I skated a bunch out there. Oh, actually, you know what? Mendoza was living out there at the time, and Jessica, and I got to like link up with them and hang out with them for like 2 days.
Forgot I was living out here.
Yeah, they live back here now, but it's a completely different environment. It's interesting for sure.
Hell
Yeah.
I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater once. No.
Yeah, man. What character did you play?
Don't say Tony Hawk.
No, dude. I was at that point. We've talked about this. I was a Bam Margera fan because I was big into Viva La Bam. Because I was a middle school boy and I just wanted to raise hell.
That's like he was in like what number like 5 or 6 or something, like Wasteland or something.
Like Tony Hawk Underground and Tony Hawk Underground 2 and that shit.
Yeah.
That shit was wild.
Yeah. I try to get him on the board. He's not going.
No, I'm too scared. I would be that dork wearing knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards, helmet, all that, dude. I stay strapped with it if I'm going to be on a board, you know?
Yeah, just whatever, you know, like be protected.
I'm just kidding.
Right, it's small to wear all that protection. But
I feel like if I'm going to get on a board, I would be much more inclined to try surfing over skateboarding. Oh, actually, probably snowboarding.
Yeah.
Probably snowboarding.
I still haven't done it yet.
Snowboarding's cool. I did it one time.
Did you pick up on it pretty quick from like your skateboarding background?
Dude, that's what people say is like,
They don't.
No.
you skills or you skateboard, you'll be good at this, and it's like totally different.
Totally
because
different.
your feet,
Damn.
that's just so the slightest movement was shifting the board in a different way. And I went to Mammoth for my first time, and that's a mountain. Like it's an actual mountain. And I remember when I was like pulling up to the ski lift, I think is what we call them. We get on it, you sit on.
Those things kind of freak me out. I'll be honest. But.
Yeah, this guy was like sitting like on the ground screaming with his shoulder out of like place. He's like, he missed the jump, and it's like something out of a movie. And he's like screaming in pain on the ground. And I look up and I look at the diamond slope. There's fucking people flying down like literally like 60 miles an hour.
Oh my god!
Dude, this is actually pretty gnarly. Like, have a lot of respect for people who snowboard, but surfing, that's gnarly too, man. Like, especially out here in Ocean Beach, people die all the time.
Yeah.
Super rocky out there.
The ocean is so cold on the West Coast. Like, it's so cold.
Does like surf culture and skate culture correlate pretty well in California, or is there like board beef? You know what I mean? Is that like
in the 80s?
I'm a wheels guy.
No beef or anything like that.
He's watched too many movies.
And that would be like a 90s West Coast, like some surfer guy sleeps with a skateboard guy's girlfriend, so now there's like a whole thing. Anyways.
Wait, what?
He's
like, it was me.
There's no beef with anything. Like, I know in SoCal, it's definitely more of a surf thing. Like, a lot of people skate and surf. Even like a lot of pros are surfing while they skate. Not while they skate, but before they skate, whatever. To start the day. I don't know. Like, I don't hang out with too many surfers. And there's a lot on my street who, like, I see them every morning coming out with their boards and stuff and going to the beach. But
yeah, because they're weirdos, you know.
What's that?
Because they're weirdos, you know, surfers. Yeah. Weirdos. I'm just kidding.
Wow, that's all I know.
So one thing I wanted to bring up, just on like so where were you? I'm just kidding.
9/11.
No. So I've known you for a couple decades almost at this point, if not actually at least 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, can you tell me what how your perception has changed between like your teens, your 20s and 30s? Like, what was like the major differences in your life between those decades? Like your personal journey. Like, what do you see? What have you seen?
Man, a couple things. One, I would say skateboarding for sure. So I found it in my teens. That changed absolutely everything, and it would be like a defining thing for like, you know, even up to this point. But honestly, breakups, dude. Breakups defined a lot of like my teens, my 20s, and now my 30s. You know, it's like,
I feel you,
because I had a couple relationships where it was a long relationships. You know, like 6 or 7 years, and you know, it's almost a decade. So I remember like when those relationships went in, my life would change dramatically. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but they did. And my teens, I'll start there. It's like, I don't know. I was in foster care and boys' homes in my teens, and again, that's when I found skateboarding. It was my therapist gave me my first board.
Oh,
I remember
cool.
I was playing. It crazy as it sounds, man. Like therapy, like changed my life. And I remember she asked me, like, what do you like to do? And at the time, I was playing a lot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. And I was like, I like skateboarding and music. And she brought me, the next time I saw her, she brought me a skateboard and a CD, which is interesting because, like, that's what my life is now, is, like, music and skateboarding. But, and the CD was POD.
Hell yeah.
Satellite?
That was my first concert, was POD.
Was it Satellite or Payable on Death?
Well, Payable on Death is POD, but it was fundamental elements of something. Fuck, I always forget it. But yeah, I remember listening to that. It was the first time listening to like metal music, and anyways, yeah, I'm off a tangent on that. But yeah, so the teens were more of like kind of dealing with more emotional stuff, I feel like, and kind of finding, oh, what is this thing that has wheels on it? Like, what is this feeling that I'm feeling? And I was watching it kind of change my life and ground me and taught me discipline and perseverance and just like how to like push through struggle, because if you want to get good at it, you have to struggle with it. And then I went to my 20s and I was kind of not doing anything in my 20s. I was kind of like fucking off in life, especially in my early 20s. I was kind of like a piece of crap, to be honest with you.
I was there.
What's that?
I was there with you, man.
You're right there with me, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the 20s were pretty rough. The early 20s were. And looking back on it, I was like, there's some things I wish I could have done differently, obviously, but I'm glad I did go about certain things a certain way because it led me to where I am now, obviously. But
yeah.
My late 20s is when things kind of like started falling more into place. I feel like I don't know. I feel like in my early 20s. Am I answering this right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool.
Yeah, keep going.
I feel like in my early 20s, like I was still dealing with a lot of stupid stuff that I didn't really deal with in my teens. Like as soon as I turned 18, I dropped out of high school. It's like, dude, screw this or whatever. Walked out, and I remember when I quit high school, and I remember when I left my house, my foster home, to go be on my own, right? To go live with remember Shane?
Yep. Shine.
Yeah. So I went to go live with him, and I remember I grabbed a plate of nachos that were sitting at my foster mom's house, and I walked out the door with my duffel bag, and I sat on the curb at this bank, and I remember thinking to myself, and like, what did I just do? Like, why did I just make that mistake? And I knew at that moment, like, okay, this is about to be really hard. And sure enough, it was until, I got into my late 20s, and that's when I moved to California and started figuring things out a little bit more and really getting to know myself. And I had to like grow up and rearrange my life very quickly because California is no joke. Even the girls out here, like dating the girls out here is way different. They're way more advanced in certain ways, I would say, and street smarts out here was a whole different thing that I had to learn, so, and that led me into my 30s, which it wasn't until I hit 30 years old when I really realized what I wanted to do with my life, and when things actually started clicking with me, especially with skating. Like, I got my first photo in Thrasher Magazine when I was 30 years old.
Damn.
These are all things I thought would have happened in my 20s, and they didn't, they happened in my 30s, like receiving boxes from companies, like my favorite companies and crap. Like wasn't supposed to happen like 10 years ago, but no, it's happening now. But my 30s, I love my 30s. You know, it's like there's been a lot of hard times too, and like last year was like the darkest year of my life, and to be able to overcome all of that and to come to like where I'm at now, which is still like not perfect, but man, I feel like I'm like rambling on now.
Nah, dude.
No, dude, that's why
that's what this is. No, keep going. No.
There's like just a lot I could say in each decade. You know, a lot I can say. I'll be completely real. Not be funny, but completely real. In my teens, I dealt with a lot of like depression. That's when that started kicking in. And in my 20s is when I started dealing with a lot of suicidal thoughts and a lot of like substance abuse. When it was alcohol, like I never like did any hard drugs or anything, but it was alcohol. I started realizing, damn, looking back, like I was an alcoholic. You know, I was drinking 2 bottles of wine a night, big Sutter Home bottles of wine.
Yep.
And it was sitting on my kitchen like cabinets like trophies. I don't line them up. I'm like, how many bottles did I get in the kitchen? You know, and I remember like just look. It's crazy thinking back to that time. Like, holy crap, I was drinking a lot, and I thought it was like cool, you know. But and then in my 30s, like. I didn't deal with suicidal thoughts, but still dealt with like depression and stuff. But not with like definitely haven't been drinking as much. You know, like I wouldn't say I'm an alcoholic or anything. I stopped drinking and all that crap. But just I don't know. There's a lot I can say about each decade.
Yeah.
All I can say I ramble on about, but I have crazy stories each decade for sure.
Yeah, you've definitely had one of the more interesting lives. Like. I remember when you first moved out there, you lived with your aunt, and you were like, I'm out. And then you were trying to figure stuff out on your own out there, not really knowing a lot of people. And you figured it out. But there's some story you told me about, like, being in, like, getting a cab or something, and then, like, the driver was, like, threatening you in some interesting character. So what?
The hitchhike story.
Yeah, and it was like one of the craziest things I heard, and you were like, dude, I almost died. And it was.
Can we get into that?
Yeah.
Please. Yeah,
dude, it was.
like perfect part.
You have so many stories like that, but
can I pee real quick?
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Give me 10.